Good morning, wrestling fans. Welcome to PWR. Today it's Monday morning. And it is, oh my God, it's June 19th. It's Juneteenth Day. Matthew, it's technically a holiday. I don't know if it's a national holiday yet. I know it's not one of those, the banks are closed holidays, but it is a national holiday. Happy
Juneteenth. It actually is. The banks are officially closed.
Oh, really? Good.
Yep.
Good.
If you try to get some banking done today, guess what, Meathead? It ain't gonna happen.
Well, if you have a credit union, I mean, you could do all your banking, but you'll have to have it post-dated.
And I will tell you, because I do know the Thomas Tender markets are closed for Juneteenth as well too.
That's still a thing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, are you still trying to sell your own, dog coins or Thomas coins or whatever it is?
Doesn't the national markets don't affect it? Whatever that raises rates, that doesn't.
We're done with that. We're done with that. All right. Matthew Thomas, Linda Kay, still traveling, still out celebrating Juneteenth Day today as well. So, Matthew, you're up. Tell us who the sponsor is.
Collar and Elbow brand apparel, available exclusively at collarandelbowbrand.com. Which one is that? Are you working stiff?
I always work stiff whenever I see you, buddy.
Is that why we're only shooting you from the waist up today?
That's right.
Kind of doing like an Elvis.
That's why the desk is kind of leaning to the side that way. Tipping it over.
We're doing an Elvis Ed Sullivan thing with Meathead, but if you want to be like Meathead and work stiff, head on over to collarandelbowbrand.com. Enter promo code LindaK, LINDAKAY. Save 10% on the working stiff shirt or whatever else you would like to save your money on. And that's not the only sponsor that's bringing you PWR this week.
Yeah, you got ProWrestlingInsurance.com as well. Our friend Chris is taking care of everybody. It's supplemental insurance, so if you get hurt, you're getting paid. It's not just for wrestlers, it's also for anybody. And they have event coverage as well. ProWrestlingInsurance.com. Talk to our friend Chris. Matthew, we got a lot of news from the last week, and it was a big wrestling week. We're also heading into a big wrestling week. We've got a pay-per-view this Sunday as well, and it's going to be emanating from Toronto. It'll be the Forbidden Door. Speaking of working stiff, I'm going to be entering the Forbidden Door while I'm working stiff this Sunday with All Elite Wrestling and New Japan World Wrestling. And let's go right into the news with AEW and New Japan World Wrestling. New Japan Pro Wrestling, excuse me. You kind of get those two together. Kevin Kelly called Collision this last week on the debut episode. Kevin Kelly was actually the American voice for New Japan Pro Wrestling. And as far as the reports show, he's going to work both companies. So that's a lot of work for Kevin Kelly. I hope he's getting paid.
Yeah, I hope, he gets all of his tax information straight at the end of the year, too, because that's a couple extra W-2s he's going to have to wait on come tax time.
Well, I mean, if he's calling the matches in Japan, that's a whole different tax bracket altogether. But I assume that he's calling them here, for the shows there and, so forth. Remember, New Japan is not just in Japan. They got the LA dojos and they got the other shows that they run in the States here as well. So New Japan Pro Wrestling and AEW sharing Kevin Kelly. Also, speaking of commentary, and this happened on Collision on Saturday night, the main event called by good old JR Jim Ross. Jim Ross shining a big, big black eye on to the commentary there. He's sporting a huge black eye. Apparently he fell and his voice was shot. Jim Ross tweeting afterwards, hey, sorry about my voice. He even said it at the end of the show. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm sorry about my voice. We'll talk to you next week. So long, or something like that, right? But JR going to take some time away and heal up. This is going to be an unpopular opinion. But JR, the shine has come off of him in AEW. He's not calling the Dynamites anymore. He's hardly calling the Rampages now. And he showed up for the main event of Collision, and he was in no shape to call that match. Yeah. Maybe it's time to work in the backstage.
Or at the very least, you bring
pay-per-view
for the big matches, the big matches, the main event, that type of stuff. Not our subject of conversation, but I don't know that I've had a chance to address this on the air. I'm not digging the face super anti-heel Tony Schiavone. And let me explain. So every time we get MJF out there, it's nothing but Tony Schiavone.
Is it for every heel or is it just the individuals?
It's mainly MJF, but it's a little bit over the top. I'd like to see Tony kind of calm down a little bit.
Don't get Taylor Swift with us here.
Yeah. I feel like there's a little bit.
So you want them to shake it off?
Yeah, I do. I want Tony to shake it off. Tony kind of went viral with his call when Sting returned, right? But the whole Sting thing. And I feel like ever since we've had that, I feel like we have had Shivani just up to 11. And you were much more of a WCW connoisseur than I was. But
ladies and gentlemen, welcome to WCW Nitro. This is the greatest night in the history of professional wrestling.
yeah, but as far as the actual calls outside of greatest night in the history of professional wrestling and Mick Foley putting butts in seats, I tend to remember Shivani being a little bit more of a straight man. During the whole, and maybe
I'll counter that because remember he called Chris Jericho a meathead.
Yeah, that's true.
So here's the thing. It's not that he's doing it for every match. It's not that he's doing it, on every heel, but he's doing it in specific spots. He has a person that he's working with. Remember, he was the Britt Baker guy for a while. Okay. So he happens to be, and it's not just him, Excalibur and Taz are leaning into MJF as well. And they say their opinions about them. They're adding into how much this guy is a hated guy. So, you're right. It can be a little over the top sometimes, but I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
It's not telling me we got a capacity crowd, which is a oxymoron of a term. So,
absolutely.
All right. So JR, again, I love him on there, and if he wants to keep doing it, that's really, AEW and his prerogative. But the problem is that it didn't come off well. I mean, if we're thinking about the product, overall, if we're thinking about the way things are being presented to us, that was not a good face. No pun intended for AEW in the commentary for the brand new show.
I'm glad we did get some explanation because I missed the explanation earlier if they announced it early in the program. And I'm like, wait a minute, why am I not hearing JR on this call? What's wrong? So I'm glad they at least explained what happened.
Yeah, and, to be honest, the explanation could have been that Shawn Michaels screwed over Bret Hart, and then it was Jim Ross that got the black eye. I mean, that would have been something that would have worked, too. Kidding, of course. In one of the matches on Collision, and we'll get to Collision in a bit, but Andrade El Idolo returned to competition. His first match in 2023, and we're 6 months in. But his finish to the match seemed to be a finish that we recognized, quite possibly from his wife. He took his wife's finisher and won the match with a figure 8. Your thoughts on that?
So you're saying he finished on Buddy Matthews?
He finished on Buddy Matthews with a figure 8, yes.
Yeah. So this is exactly what I hope they do with Collision, right? WCW, oh my goodness. AEW, you've got people like Buddy Matthews, that they've gone really, really stable heavy on. And it's like, yeah, we get to see him with the House of Black, but I don't feel like we've had Buddy Matthews highlighted in a singles match in quite some time. We hadn't seen Andrade all year long. This is a match of two evenly matched people that I'm really, really interested in. I hope this is the meat and potatoes of what we see on this other show.
Okay. Well, obviously Charlotte saying Poppy, one of the best in the world. That's what happens when you get the chance to shine. And, he's hashtag the real Latino man. So, real nice to see that there's that talk between companies. Remember, you got Charlotte with Andrade. You've got Zelina Vega with, Malachi Black. You've got Rhea Ripley and Buddy Matthews. You got all these inter-promotion, relationships that are going on. And they don't have to hide it.
Yeah. Is that them trying to skirt HR policies? Like they want to date somebody in the industry, but they don't want to fill out the paperwork?
Probably. That's it. You go work at Burger King when you're dating somebody from McDonald's. I get it.
That makes sense.
Do you think they're trading the recipes? If somebody giving out the secret herbs and spices?
Trade secrets. Have you tried Grimace's happy birthday meal yet?
No, but Grimace, if he wants to reach out to me, White Castle weekend. Actually, it's going to be White Castle week probably this year. But White Castle week is coming within a month here. And, yesterday was a big holiday as well. So I don't know. We'll have to talk to Grimace. What is Grimace anyway?
He's a purple person. And I researched his meal, and it's a little bit deceptive based on the ads, because on the ads, it looks like you get the shake, a Big Mac, fries, and chicken McNuggets. You have to select between chicken McNuggets and a Big Mac. You don't get them both. It's a little bit disappointed there.
Yeah, I'm kind of disappointed as well. A little meat, little chicken. Well, chicken byproduct, and a little bit of shake. Do fries go with that shake?
I think so.
Maybe. Let's move over to WWE and let's talk SmackDown. Holy smokes. SmackDown, you continue to not disappoint. Every time you think, and I'm stealing your words here, Matthew, but I'm going to put out there, every time you think they can't go any farther, can't do any more with the Bloodline, we get another layer. We're peeling that onion back another layer.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're firing on all cylinders there. And let's be honest with you, I think the 2 hours helps them as opposed to having to fill up 3 hours. It's a nice, concise package with a bow that everything's wrapped in. And I think you really see, because at the end of a SmackDown, you don't necessarily feel like it's this long marathon of a TV show you're watching. I think you still have enough energy. Most people have enough energy and attention span to be able to, really be up for this major conclusion that's taken, between 20 and 30 minutes at the end of the show. But you're right. My only concern, Meathead, is like, they've been paying this stuff off week after week after week. You're going to get to a point where it's like, all right, what do we do now? But enjoy it while you got it.
This is, again, I'll be mocked for this one, but this is a thing I had mentioned before. Can I get one female competitor with one color hair?
One female competitor with one color hair.
Can I just have a female on television that has one color? Just one. I don't need multicolors. I mean, I'm looking at, images from Zelina Vega defeating Io Sky. Zelina's got about 3. Io's got 2. Charlotte, there we go. She's got blonde hair. That's the competitor we needed. Bianca technically is all black too, but she had the diamonds in her hair. Then you got, the colors. I can't do it anymore. I mean, just one color. So thank you, Charlotte Flair, for having one color hair. That outfit had multiple colors on it, though, so that thing was popping. Let's talk about SmackDown real quick. Outside of the Usos, because we want to circle back to it, there was a tag team gauntlet that had happened, and your winners and number one contenders are pretty deadly.
The way it should be. Oh, my goodness. And it was done so right. The Brawling Brutes, went the duration of the match, pretty deadly at the very end. So, you're having heels win the way heels should. And, I think
great line out of Sammy and KO. So you won about 5 minutes ago, and you're still in the ring. Get out.
Yeah, and here's the thing: they're not taking it off of Sammy and KO, but it's going to be fun getting there. I think we're getting to see more of Pretty Deadly on SmackDown. So I'm and here's the thing too: if you're watching it week to week, I enjoy Barrett. So we're talking about Shivani having the people he doesn't like. Well, apparently Barrett really likes Pretty Deadly. So
Barrett's into Pretty Deadly. Confusingly so, yeah.
I'm enjoying Barrett's call of Pretty Deadly week to week. And honestly, it reminds me a little bit of kind of what we had with JBL back in 06, 07, really, really getting invested in the heels.
Yeah, and he's not into every heel, but he's definitely into LA Knight. Who did not get a victory. I thought that was another chance for him to go stronger. And the winner was Santos Escobar, who's going to be stronger. You know what? They're doing this 50-50 booking right now with a bunch of these guys, and I don't particularly like it. But you know what? LA Knight is stronger. Santos Escobar looking stronger as well with Ray at his side.
Yeah, and really, really good move with the LWO. I think you're going to have all of those guys getting over a lot more, kind of bringing that nostalgia back with Ray than you would have otherwise.
And got the episode from last night at WWE Treasures with Ray and Eddie as well.
Yeah, so they're doing a good job there, and each week we're getting much more of a groundswell towards LA Knight. I think he's your guy for Money in the Bank. He should be your guy for Money in the Bank.
Yeah.
You've just listened to the crowd every single week. I think he's your guy.
Absolutely. LA Knight, who, again, if you think about it, he's like the Roy Hobbs of the WWE right now, because he was in WWE how many years ago, and he messed it up, and now he's coming back, and finally a little bit older. LA Knight is finally, fulfilling his destiny, to be honest with you.
Let me throw this out there too, and I think that, you say what you will about having an additional title, I think LA Knight winning the briefcase, or whoever wins the briefcase, it makes the likelihood and the believability of them actually winning a title much more likely, because I don't see LA Knight winning the briefcase and cashing in on Roman, right? But, catching Seth at a vulnerable moment for that new title, I think it's a strong possibility.
I don't know. We'll have to see. Also, kind of 50-50 booking, but it caught us off guard, and it strengthens up Karrion Kross. Him and Scarlett would have win over AJ Styles and Mishin in a mixed tag match.
Yeah, I've commented on the show kind of where I'm at with AJ and the OC, but we did get a little bit of a hint of something. Here's what I want to happen from this angle. I want Scarlett consistently trying to seduce AJ and Karrion being cool with it. That's what I want.
Explain yourself.
Yeah, no, I just did. So basically we had Scarlett trying to distract AJ, right? And AJ's like, I'm married or something like that, right?
To Claire Styles.
Yeah.
Well, Claire Lynch Styles.
Lynch, right? But yeah, I want this whole angle of Scarlett consistently trying to seduce AJ and Karrion just kind of being in the background there.
Let's move over to AEW and let's talk about Dynamite. Dynamite was packed. I mean, we had the Eliminator match between MJF and Adam Cole. We had the TNT Championship being defended. It was Wardlow and Jake Hager. We had Tony Storm against Sky Blue. We also had the Mogul Embassy taking on Darby Allin, Sting, Orange Cassidy, and Keith Lee. Sammy Guevara returned, and the Blackpool Combat Club took out the Hung Bucks, Hangman Adam Page, and the Young Bucks. That was a packed night. Big news out of it was that there is no winner between MJF and Adam Cole. It was a draw.
Yeah, but this was the way to do it. Like, this was a very, very, so